Well, yeah, it really matters. It's
This is like echoes. I think this is the fewest people we've ever had.
Well, actually, funny enough, yes, I'm glad I didn't make her come all the way back, because Jill was the one scheduled to rotate in from the staff, but she was here till a little later than usual, because she was helping me with something. And,
Oh, yeah.
and she had sort of forgotten, but either she had to stay all the way
that's
till
tough,
now.
'cause
She usually
she-
leaves at 2:30, or she'd have to come all the way back from
Yeah,
Pembroke.
she lives the furthest away.
So I did not want her to do that, so I told her to skip it, which was a good call. Have you heard from Lucille, by the way, in Grand Canyon? So this
talking to
Rotary,
her.
Jenny is there. I mean, our Jenny went down because the hotel was half off.
Oh,
She got a
really?
good flight, or I don't know.
Did they
She's-
go the same place or different places?
I think the same place, because she was in communication with Mike, because of
Oh,
course we
okay.
get all his emails. So she was just too tempted. It's this Grand Cayman Film Festival that the Rotary Club internationally
Oh.
sponsors. And so Jenny went down to sit on the beach and watch a couple films.
Sounds good.
I know, it does. It does.
Yeah.
Her kids are all launched in
Well,
college
that's
or
why
whatever.
she's
Coming, it's just gonna get here a
Yeah,
little
no,
bit late, but we're gonna start.
No communication. Anybody down
It's
there.
going on now, right?
They're
So-
blacklisted, as far as I'm concerned.
They're
Yeah, it's going on, what's today, Thursday? So I think it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think. So,
Jenny just went Wednesday morning, so she was.
Oh, then maybe-
Maybe it's Wednesday, Thursday.
I mean, you know, I can say that they had some awesome content.
Some, oh, for films, yeah.
Films.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they seek that out.
John McCulloch from Boston College is, Boston College, yeah. He's got like 2 or 3, and Beth Murphy, who did Raja,
Yeah.
she's got 1 or 2, I think. I mean, you know, they got a lot of good.
Good.
Is it the Grand Canyon or the Grand Cayman?
Grand
Cayman.
Cayman
Oh,
Islands.
wow.
So they got a lot of good stuff that they were
When
doing.
you said beach, I'm thinking Grand
Yeah.
Canyon, beach. No.
My brother is skiing in Austria, though, and I got a picture of that. That looked pretty darn nice. No
Good.
beach, but it was sunny, and it looked
Yeah,
pretty warm,
sunny
too.
and good skiing.
Although he says his legs are killing him, because he's certainly not practiced. And he happens to be there with sort of an international group that work for State Street Bank all over the world, and his friend, good friend, does. So he's with people that ski out there all the time, and he's probably just trying to keep up. And
Legs are
barely, I'm
rough.
sure he hasn't skied in a couple of years.
Legs are rubbery.
But
Tim
it's-
Ryan's husband had a terrible ski accident. So
Yeah.
he's been, you know, he broke his ribs and his
Rib cage.
collarbone. And
Yeah, that's painful.
so Kim's quite preoccupied right
Did he,
now.
was it a fall or did he hit a tree?
Did he hit a tree?
Fell on the mobile.
He fell on a mobile.
Crashed, yeah.
Yikes.
So,
Yeah.
Who was that, Ken Shelton?
yeah, he's in tough shape. But I guess they did,
7 months surgery tomorrow.
that's on his collarbone?
They fixed the lung, now they're doing the
Oh, good God.
Oh, my God.
Jesus.
I knew there was a reason I didn't ski.
Yeah.
That's a tough
Yeah.
Well, no, I
Well-
went skiing. I went skiing 2 times. And it was way too cold for me because I skated my whole life and figure skated. So I could figure skate indoors. And 2 times I went to Mount Attitash, and 2 times I was miserable. And I said, just because of the cold.
Yeah.
But I hear through the years I've heard of all these people having terrible accidents.
My daughter blew out her knee. She had she blew out her knee, had to get
Oh, wow.
an ACL repaired last year,
At what age?
28.
Oh,
Well, then I would like to call the Council on Aging Board of Directors meeting to order. Maybe we'll do a quick round of introductions. Dale?
Dale Baylog, board member.
Janice Limblom, board member.
Linda Hayes, Director of the COA.
J.D. Miller, board member.
Joan Powell Lezion for South Shore LD Services.
I know Linda passed along meeting minutes a couple days ago. Did everybody have a chance to take a look at those?
Okay.
And or any questions, or we want to take a look at them now?
You did a good job again.
You know what, we could table the minutes only because in order to vote them in, we need a
Quorum.
quorum.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we could make it last, if we remember.
Sure. Sure. Okay. Well, then, that probably hops us right to the director report.
So soon?
Yep.
Okay. Well, actually, it is brief, and I'm chalking that up to a brief month, being February, even with the extra day. And maybe being a little bit monopolized by a couple of things that had come up. So the report tells you about any community or department collaborations if I happen to have them. And this past month has been involved with some meeting and planning for the Scituate hoarding response team or task force. We meet monthly anyway, and we have had a grant, money, which has been used for various purposes, and we had it last year. This was a second round. But part of what we wanted to do with the money as a group was education for the community. And now, partly in light of the tragedy that had occurred in January, but really it was already in the works. And we are now having this event on April 30th, which is a Saturday, at St. Luke's. I don't have a flyer. They have created a flyer, and there is some news or information or publicity going around, also through the health department as well, Jen Keefe. But
That's an event to publicize.
it is an event to publicize, and I think we would still have time to do that because it's
Absolutely.
April 30th.
Yes,
And that,
correct.
actually, I'm going to write that
Nice if we
down.
could get a photographer there too. You know, if you call, you know, in the past,
Would-
I've called and for an event and if they come in or something.
Right. Well, and I'm not, it's the whole
Yeah.
group that's working
Right.
out all this marketing,
But,
so that was discussed
Yeah.
certainly already, but I just wanted to make you all aware of it as well, because we are involved. So between the health department, fire, building, police, and it's really facilitated by Jen at Health and Laura as social services. Jenny's involved, myself. I'm sure there's others. Representative, one of the caseworkers from Social Elder Services as well. Anyway, it is a speaker who himself had been had the disorder
Really?
and has
Okay.
come out of it. He and his wife do talk about that, and a few of them have heard him speak before. So he is coming from Western Mass, putting him up for one night, and then the presentation will be on Saturday. And we'll also have a panel with sort of just key people from each department that could answer questions should the community have them. So it really should be a great event. So anyway, that was part of the month's planning.
So can I just ask,
Yes.
if someone's identified,
Mhm.
you know, are they identified through the fire department, who then passes it along to Laura?
Could be, but actually it could come
Could be,
almost
could be a
from
next door neighbor.
So really, each of us knows
Okay.
there's somewhat of a matrix of where to go if you get the information
Yep, okay.
first. And oftentimes it goes to the health department. It could go to Laura first as well.
Yeah, okay.
Could come here first,
Yep.
actually, in the past. So in addition, I might have spoken about this last month, but we've still been working with GATRA since receiving the new VN, since, also they've sort of had to comply with a few new federal regulations, so of course they passed that on to us, and with the existence now and the use of the new VN, we've just had so much to try to understand and start to bring into our own policies, and what we are continuing to do, just what we've done before in terms of the transportation. Our drivers have had to comply with some additional regulations, physical exams. Also, we spent almost a full day with a person who did an audit, assigned through the FTA and through GATRA to come here, and she's gone to other councils on aging, anyone who is using the transit authority's money. But for the random drug testing, et cetera, and really that has to be all complied with perfectly. So she went through us with a fine-tooth comb, make sure we knew what to do. And with our own HR director being new, he was involved as well, so we're all on board now with what has to be done, but a little bit tough on our drivers. They've also had to go through some training, which they would have had to do before and have to do every 2 years, but we're on board with that. So there's been a lot of just getting on board, no pun intended, just getting our paperwork complete and ducks in order for use of all 3 vans now.
How many drivers are there?
Glad you brought that up. We have 3 drivers, 2 regular part-time who have their assigned days, and then we have another part-time driver who fills in and/or does trips in addition to the regular local trips we plan to the supermarket and to Hanover Mall, etc. We find, especially with the new van, that we probably need another driver. So we have had that approved and posted. So another part-time driver would be very useful either as backup or to take over one of the vans.
I
And
would
it could be
think,
that we end up, usually we run 1 van a day. We see the need now to potentially run 2 vans. We haven't really started with that, but we couldn't easily until we have this other driver.
Right.
And especially where we do want to do more trips as the good weather starts. They're popular.
Yeah.
Lisa's been able to plan some good things, and we're happy about it, and the seniors are happy about it. We're also still working with Kevin Kelly on trying to get the kitchen up to sort of a usable, certified condition so that we can continue to use it, maybe to bring in a lunch once a week or once a month, and just to be in compliance with everything the health department needs us to have. First, and we've been waiting on a dishwasher. It needs to be a commercial dishwasher, but we don't want to buy a new one, and we can't seem to get this older one repaired. So that's been sticking, but we now have a new volunteer who really is interested. He was in the food service industry, and he could be a big help in managing what we could do with the kitchen, and that would be
What's his name?
Dennis Cody. So in addition, I did go to a breakfast meeting by GATRA with all the surrounding towns. It was held at the Duxbury Senior Center, which was nice. But he wanted to just present kind of a layout of what their executive summary is all about, what their mission is, what they're doing with each of the towns, how they're making changes, expanding routes, and what they do with the money, and how the money is used by them and then given out to each of the districts in their location. So it was a good, informative breakfast. I did submit our section for the Council on Aging for the Town of Scituate annual report that they put out in booklet form every year. We are
Is that
starting...
just basically a copy of your book?
No, well, a little more narrative,
Okay.
much more narrative, actually, for me. And in fact, numbers are nice, but that wasn't the focus, really. To the community about what we do. New exercise class starting this month, which was funded by the Mass Council on Aging, but we really had to develop it, so that was time spent this past month as well. And the newsletter, I say this it takes me a week or more to produce that newsletter, as small as it is. And then on top of that, we had a week of a representative from Liturgical Publications here to try and solicit advertising for the newsletter, so that, again, I've mentioned this before, we could potentially expand it. I'm not sure how that went. He was new to the organization, and we don't want to ourselves have to put a lot of time into it, but he does need some orientation, so it's not an easy thing to do. And I haven't heard, actually, if he was successful or how that went. And continuing just to publicize so many of our events takes so much time, whether it's creating flyers, typing up narrative to go into one of the print sources. So that's very time consuming. Now, I did make copies of our revolving accounts, and I didn't put those out initially, so actually, take 2 for this side, 2 for that side. I guess that's easy. So just 2 for you. Now, on one side is the budget. You know, difficult to make heads or tails, really. It's not the budget. I gave out the budget last month,
Right.
which had been approved by the Board of Selectmen. And those are our municipal line items. But Dale had made mention that I didn't include the revolving funds. Namely, and you can see on the back page, I just put some numbers and explanation in a little spreadsheet form. Essentially, that's the gifts and donations revolving fund. And that's a decent amount, and I don't know how long that has been accumulating, frankly. But somewhere around 2003 or 4, it was voted into existence, so I can only assume it was at least that old. So that's going back over 10 years.
It's always been Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's, even before you took on the position of director, it's always been at least around,
20.
no, 35, 36, so.
Oh, no doubt, I'm just saying, I didn't know when it
No,
would
I was just,
originated.
supporting what you were saying.
How long it has been
Yeah.
accumulating. So we have received deposits since July of $4,000 plus dollars, which has been added to it. And this year, and I mentioned this at the last meeting, frankly, we weren't called upon to use any of those funds, which we occasionally do for emergency requests, but we didn't have the need to do that this year yet in terms of fuel or things that people just didn't have. We don't publicize that, but we can do that. And we
Because the
have done that.
$10,000 that that gentleman donated is in here too now.
Mhm.
So, that would be about maybe 4 or 5 years now,
Mhm.
that 10,000 has been in there.
And then for the, what we call the senior programs, it's the program revolving fund. So that also had been established about the same time as the other account. So that's a little bit harder to make heads and tails out of. Here's what we do with that. I mean, there's a sum in there, and there was a sum of $19,000 in there at the beginning of this fiscal year. But the way that account works is it's all of the instructor fees that come into us. All the money comes into the senior center, whether it's an exercise class, a lifelong learning class, something that requires a fee. And we take that money and we deposit it into the program. Then we also pay out of the program account, so everything that we pay for. And I did try to give those examples, which for the most part,
The instructor fees, the...
so that's all turnkey. The instructor fees come in, the instructor payment goes out. And we don't make any money on that. I did talk about potentially, and Bob Jackman, who does one of the lifelong learning courses, the history course, he was getting such a good turnout that he said, well, anything over this, we could take the percentage of, which is great. And once we have the facility that really allows us to accommodate more, we can do a 10% off the top or something like that with a little bit of a fee for people who do their services, even including exercise. But at this point, we don't really, but he's been kind enough to sort of do that. So that's been added. Anytime we're doing trips, we have to buy tickets, we have to do something where we need an invoice for that. So the money comes in, the money goes out. Breakfast and lunch charges, anything we do that's a program here that we might charge a fee for, we don't necessarily charge exactly what we're spending. So we're subsidizing. So the money is coming in. If it's $3 for a men's breakfast or $4 for the St. Patrick's Day lunch, we're certainly probably paying more like $6 or $7 a person,
Right.
maybe for the entertainment, etc. So some of it is coming in and
But that's what's so nice about this, is that
that's
you
how
are-
I'm using it.
That's,
Yeah.
this is perfect for being able to do that.
So in
Yeah.
addition, I'll make some other decisions that I think are warranted. You know, I may pay for a program that, you know, we have the money, and if I think it's a worthwhile idea and it's going to bring more people into the senior center, then it's good. I also will mention, so things like that, just programs that I think are worthwhile, equipment for programs, supplies like pickleball stuff we purchase so that we could do that without anyone having to buy their own. And then even the cafe foodstuffs, the coffee for the cafe, that adds up. And we do, you know, obviously people throw some donations in the basket. But we get donations too, which are earmarked for programs, and those go in the account too. So as long as they're earmarked, no, they're not tax deductible, but they can go right to that particular idea. So that's what we do, and that's the money you can see we have used some, so it's gone down about 1,000. Most of what comes in and goes out. That's why it's so hard to show you the account, because each month, it's crazy how many things are coming in and going out and use the deposits.
Right, but it's still good for us to see, that is a big, you know, I'll repeat what I said, it's a big chunk of money. You know, $43,000 is nothing to sneeze at, so.
No, and we're hoping it remains there for when we can use it for something more substantial in a new facility, so that's great.
Can I ask you, when the Rotary makes a donation,
Mhm.
and they, you know, they're very kind,
Mhm.
where does that money go? Is that earmarked, or does that go into gifts and donations?
Last year, that went into gifts and donations.
It's probably not, I mean, unless we're doing something
Right.
specific, it's not even...
Right. Oh, well, I understand that, but that was a special,
So it would have gone...
We
into
did that a little
gifts and
differently this year,
donations.
yeah.
Right.
And it has gone into, they've
Yeah.
given multiple years, and it has gone into gifts and donations, yes. Because it wasn't really earmarked. We knew it would be used for maybe emergency needs, and that's what we did.
Right.
We actually used it last year. So I wanted that, and now I will simply pass out, and we don't, not really on the agenda, but last month I had thought I included this with my report, my goals and objectives, and somehow it didn't get copied onto the back page. So I did include it here, if anybody has any questions about that.
Also, budget, I think last month you said the only real differentiation is some salaries were picked up in another department?
Laura's salary,
Yeah.
strictly Laura's salary. She is now, she has a foot in each camp.
Yeah.
Health department and us, 60% them, 40% us. So that much of her salary got removed from
Yeah.
our budget.
Yeah.
Was there something?
But otherwise your budget items are above?
The driver's salaries also, because GATRA's now become a revolving account and they support the driver's salaries, I think that was also eliminated from the budget, if I remember right.
Okay.
And otherwise, no real changes.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
level funded. Jenny's report is pretty self-explanatory. She's a member of the task force I mentioned as well, so she's been involved in that planning. She mentions here she started to meet with Dawn Knapp on a regular basis monthly, which I think will be nice. And when I can, I do sit in on her meetings with her and Laura, so I can keep up to date with what they're doing, but I did not this month. Quincy Ann's transportation report shows numbers for transportation pretty much the same as January. We did get the new van out this past month. We had to wait until the drivers did get their medical ID cards, and that took a few weeks. But it's nice, they're happy. It's not that much different from the 12-person. The 14-person is not that different from the 12-person. It's really about a foot in the back. So but it is newer, nicer, a little bit more room for the seating. Lisa's report about activities and volunteers.
Well, that's so weird, that January and February are almost identical number of rides. I guess that reflects the good weather we've had.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would guess.
but
the
I
same.
mean, 460 in January and 461 in February, that's,
Well, funny enough, I think the little bit of snow we had didn't really disrupt our routine, but then even though February was a shorter month, it's,
right.
we had about the same.
Right.
Lisa mentions, we have some new volunteers. Betty's been away, Betty Johnson, who does the Panera pickup, so someone else stepped in to do that. And a couple of people took over Shaw's jails, so, and our front desk people have been indispensable, so really happy with that in terms of helping us run the place here. Activities, Lisa mentioned we had a great presentation by Kim Bennett, who some people know from coming here to a board meeting, and Nate, who owns Visiting Angels, one of the partners. So they did a great presentation on maintaining memory. Everybody likes that. You can't hear enough about what to do for your brain. But we have had good luck with our activities, unlike last year when we canceled almost everything in January, February, and half of March.
well, life was canceled for those of us.
Had to do it.
Eating and sleeping were about the only things on the
And shoveling.
agenda. And shoveling.
And we actually took on a lot this month and into April. I'm not sure, maybe it was just because we thought we held back a little in January and February, but we did take on a lot. We are almost exceptionally busy ourselves just trying to market, and any help, I always hope the board can help with that and get the word out and make sure people know what we're doing and maybe even come, which if you're available, we have, and I did include that on a page. My apologies to Bob Jackman, because I actually meant to go back and put his course name in here. So we've got Larry King's classical music class, which actually started this week for 6 weeks. And we did have a reasonable enrollment for that so that we could hold it, but great to have him. I think that's a nice addition. But in addition, Bob Jackman is doing another 6-week course starting in 2 weeks on industries, local industries from 19th century Scituate, some of which remain today.
Cool.
He's always got a good idea. The Rotary Club has helped to sort of supplement one of our cafe talks with one of their members who is doing a presentation next week on Wednesday, the 16th. And he's already been in to check out the equipment, make sure everything works. He's showing an award-winning documentary film on this project in Guatemala called Safe Passage, and then also his own experience over the course of 10 years in helping with this project for the Rotary. And the Rotary Club is sort of substituting a meeting to be here as well, so it'd be great to have a good showing.
Good guy, good presentation.
Very nice, yes. We're glad to meet him.
So that's March 16th at 10 a.m., right?
10 a.m., Wednesday morning for our cafe talk. Snacks, coffee, tea. I just put in brackets the theater workshop because it is supposed to start next week, and we had this lovely woman from Scituate, Jean DiGiacomandria, hat trick.
Giacomandrea.
She takes beautiful pictures, puts them on
Okay.
Scituate Monthly every 5 minutes,
really
but they're
good.
beautiful.
Yeah, she's good.
So she and her partner, but as yet we don't have really what we require to run it in terms of numbers, but it really would be fun. I have had a little experience with people getting involved in that sort of thing, and it's a nice artistic out-of-the-box activity. We would be holding it at St. Luke's if she gets enough people. And if not, we'll try it again in the summer. It could be the time of year, and the fact that we are missing some of our usual patrons just because of the winter trips to Florida. Something else I do want to mention, though, the Art Matters on Monday, March 28th. We have 2 things on the same day, night. But in the morning on March 28th, the day after Easter, is a program that is just so wonderful. It's an education program, really, on art, different aspects of art. So the first one that she does is called Art Makes Us Human, and she basically runs through history and how art has had an impact all the way through. And it's an hour, very visual, great stories, good background on all of the, it's like an art history course,
Who's
really.
presenting that?
Well, they're called, the organization is called Art Matters, so it's someone that they
Oh,
send.
they'll just send, okay.
Normally, it is the woman who owns it, and I do love to have her. We would have had to pay extra for her, so I didn't choose to do that. But we are paying for this just to bring it in and see, how well it's received, and then maybe it would be something we could get some sponsorship for moving forward. And actually, I do have donations made in, one thing we did get this year, which was very nice, really nice, is donations in memory of a couple of people who had passed away. And that's really nice to have done that, and much of it went towards programs. So that's what I'm using to pay for this. The same night, the intergenerational dinner and game night with the high school Interact Club kids. We had this last year. It was great. We probably had maybe 17 people come in addition to the kids, which probably matched. There's so many of them. They're so great. So games for an hour, music, really a lot of fun, conversation, and then dinner, which they're bringing. It's Italian. I forget where they're having it catered from.
They've talked to you.
They have talked to me.
Because they were working on the menu the other day.
They
I said, "Man,
really
you guys, please talk to them about it. Please talk to them."
I'm good, yep.
Okay.
So that should be nice, and we do want people to sign up, obviously, so we know how much food we need, but it really is worthwhile, and they're a lot of fun. And excited about our new technology that we can use in some way, shape, or form. And then there is the marketing I've tried to do, and I have, I don't know if you could reach that. Let me.
Oh, the poster?
So I did end up getting a couple of these flyers made, not flyers, posters, I guess, mini posters, for the Age of Love screening at the Millwharf Cinema. So that is on April 1st at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It is a free screening. We would like people, I didn't put this on the first flyers, I did put
Why
out.
don't you show the camera?
Yeah.
Show the audience.
You see these around town. There's only 6 of these, but there's all kinds of flyers. I started with different iterations and then finally went to the printer and said, can you do something nicer for me? But we probably would like RSVPs because I started to get nervous. It's a maximum of 150 in the theater, so I would hate to turn people away. They do have a smaller theater, and probably we could show it in 2 places if we had to, but I'd rather not. And then we're able to go for a little reception at the Millwharf restaurant afterwards for discussion. So we're going to try to have a facilitated discussion, maybe, just to have the conversation about relationships, companionship, the idea of speed dating for older adults, and just what it means, just the idea that culturally we're trying to change perception of what older adults find enjoyable and would like to be able to do in the latter 30, 40 years of their lives. So anyway, I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it.
So where are you going to put those?
I have one at Town Hall, library, and the school. I gave one to the kids
High
to
school?
take to the high
Okay.
school. I just thought even the teachers who are out at that time, or maybe the English teachers would want to
Okay.
pass that around.
Okay,
I have sent it out to the other COAs surrounding towns.
okay.
And I will get this to the movie theater, the Mill Wharf Restaurant, and there's one other place I was going that just off the top of my head I can't think of because I had 6.
Because you only have...
But I would take anybody who might have an idea on where to put other flyers. I have other ones that I have printed out.
I'm
You
thinking
can
of
see
Village
them over
Market.
there. You know, I looked there wasn't quite
Bulletin board,
room
sure.
for us on that bulletin
Yeah.
board, so I don't know how to.
But that changes all the time.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. 'cause
Yeah.
I would say Dunkin'
I'll find the one
Donuts, right
with-
there.
Dunkin' Donuts, right?
Everybody goes in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one downtown? or
Right,
the
yeah,
one-
the one
Yeah.
down the harbor.
Yeah.
You're right.
Actually, if you go up and
Yeah, it's
down.
right
I
next
know,
door.
could
You
almost
you can
stop
put-
every window.
Maybe
Yeah.
not the deluxe ones, but they're very good about
Yeah.
putting posters up.
So hoping to still have something written in the Mariner for next week probably, and then we'll mark it separately for the speed dating, which I am targeting for the end of April, April 29th, but I'm still looking for a venue, just because it needs to be a nice setting. We'd like, maybe a restaurant-type setting or a restaurant setting. And the tables need to be right for it, so I'm just still doing a little bit of looking.
Does Ruth Thompson know about?
I did send her the press materials and hoping maybe we can work out a
Good.
story.
Good. Oh, yeah. I bet.
And then I just mentioned some other things, and I'm only doing that because we have the time here now anyway, but as I continue to say, we'd like to do some events, and I've mentioned some of these, they're ideas normally with an organization that would be more geared toward the idea of fundraising, but help support events in the times that aren't necessarily our operating hours and our standard activities and events. So more community awareness-driven events. So I'm still hoping maybe, either with the board's help or something more akin to the idea of the Friends, the idea of a spring fling with the Brown Brothers. It could be a date night for the people that do the speed dating. Anyway, I'd love to do that. I have talked with the woman who came for the Mother's Day lunch a couple of years ago, the medium, Leslie Kane, who is a friend, and I'd love to do another either afternoon with her or evening event with her. Then I've had an idea, I'd like to be involved in Heritage Days somehow again, and was thinking maybe of a 5K run or walk, but maybe have it be linked somehow to the historic landmarks in town, and maybe walk or run there and do some sort of a route.
Yeah, because they're all open too.
That would be, wouldn't that be
Yeah.
kind of interesting,
Right.
a walk or a run? You
Right.
could choose to do either, maybe at different times. So just an idea, we could buy T-shirts, make T-shirts that somehow talked about us. And then I will mention this other, item, with Jean, the theater woman. Lines of Fire, something that she recommends, and they could perform for us. It's a staged event of letters from veterans from various conflicts, and I guess it's very moving, and they've done it before, and it would be something we could link up with the veterans agent and maybe offer around one of the holidays, whether it's as quick as Memorial Day or should wait till Veterans Day. But it sounds really nice, and I would really love to
Yeah,
do
she had something
like
on the
that.
Scituate Monthly website about that when it was going on in another town,
In another town.
inviting people from Scituate. But she described it.
Mhm.
Seemed like a very good,
Or maybe another town another time that's good, and leave
Mhm.
Memorial Day and Veterans Day alone.
Mhm. We could do July, just
Right.
the idea of
I mean,
independence.
if that works.
Yeah. And it would, actually, it might, you're right, it might work. Why not remember them every
Right,
month?
Right, yeah.
That's a good idea, because actually, so far, we've
that
Well,
is
loved
a good idea, because there are so many things going on
It's a little
anyway.
competitive.
Right, those weekends, the
Yeah.
veterans who might want to attend may be busy doing other
Right,
things.
exactly, they're traditional, that's a great
Mhm.
idea.
So
Mhm.
maybe another time to schedule that. But
Yes, so those are some things I wanted to mention just in the event you're interested in the ideas and in helping out or trying to find a way for us to kind of get some additional support to do it, because we're kind of stretched to the limit here at the senior center. That is my report officially, I believe. Let me, yes, isn't it?
I think so.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
So we've kind of gone through, we're maybe to liaison update with John, yes?
Okay. Our meeting was
On
March
social
1st, which is always the first Tuesday in the month. And we had a very good meeting, a lot discussed and given out about the governor's budget and stuff. And he's doing a complete review of all the elderly care budget, so. And Wellspring is working on training for healthcare, home care visits. Lobby Day was very successful, and they had a really good group and a lot of media there and politicians, so that was good.
Was that at the State House?
There were two motions that we
That's probably sexual
passed.
part.
Oh,
And one was to, with South Shore Elderly Services, to work with Bethany Home Care for homemakers and personal care services for the Footbone Academy nuns. So it's a special group, and they approved that. And then the other one was Carewell Adult Day Health. This agency is located in Norwell and is a newer facility. The services include transportation, wheelchair transport. They have visited, they're very happy, they visited the center to see what it was like because it's new. It deals with Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, stroke patients, and individual with severe mental illness.
That's Carewell. It's
Yeah.
in Nesson Industrial Park in Norwell.
Yeah. So that was discussed and it was approved.
John, what are they gonna, what they approved before this with the nuns, what are they gonna do with the nuns?
Well, they're working with them with a healthcare.
So then they're gonna let the nuns help, join the help, or are they helping the nuns?
They're working together. with
Okay,
them.
so the nuns are gonna join in on the team.
Right, well, they're gonna help them out. They're afflicted, they're part of the Sisters of the St. Joseph.
Okay.
And they're working to get in homemakers and personal care and that type of thing.
Okay.
For the nuns.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's for them. I think it's, Joan, it's not for the nuns are gonna help them.
Is it
No,
to
it's
train,
for-
is it to
no.
train the nuns to be
No, no.
providing home
No,
care
it's
services?
for
Or
the
is it
nuns.
Oh, it is for.
services for the nuns who are getting older?
It's a
Okay.
service for the nuns in that
That's nice.
Good.
facility.
Okay.
South Shore Elderly will be working with them.
Okay,
But no, it's just for that group.
okay.
Thank you.
There were many, we have a lot of handouts to strategies of mass health, state home news services. And one of the things that was brought up on Lobby Day and is on the website is the elderly population in Massachusetts is booming. The elderly population in Massachusetts will increase 46% between 2015 and 2035. Our elderly population is rising from 360,000 between 2010 and 2030. And people under 60 is dropping by 8%. Nearly 70% of these people turning 65 will need some level of long-term services in their lifetime. 40% will need long-term services for more than 2 years, and 60% will need over $100,000 in services. 45% of Mass Health members who need long-term services or elderly is over 1,012 people. Well, there was just a lot of statistics that they gave out. The health safety net in Massachusetts allows people.
Joe, can I interrupt you for one? Am I right? That mirrors Scituate,
46%?
46%
Yep, yep.
in the next 5 to 8 years, right? So it's statewide, but Situate's
statewide, but it's all
Scituate has got the same demographics on a micro level that mirror those stats.
And we
Yeah.
should remember that stat in terms of the forthcoming new senior center.
Significant
46%.
Significant growth of the elderly
I
population.
mean, we're at about 30% now.
Yeah. And we're expected to be 46% by 2020,
2020.
right? Right. So,
And there were a lot of different things about baby boomers.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
I thought that one interesting is a health safety net in Massachusetts allows people with incomes up to $47,000 to get a partial subsidy for their health care. But elders seeking home care with over $27,000 get no assistance. We always get a lot of statistics and stuff. And then the board training was about different programs, and one of them is the Massachusetts Veterans Independence Plus Program Guides. And this is to do with veterans. They can get money from the veterans, but the one thing is you have to have a doctor from the Veterans Hospital.
Independence Plus is a new and somewhat confusing program. It's not nationwide yet, but it is in Massachusetts. It basically provides the veteran who is deemed nursing home
Or homebound.
or homebound, well, but nursing home eligible, if you will,
Because
health-wise.
they...
The VA will help pay for some of those services, but not a whole heck of a lot, but they will help pay for someone to keep
Right.
that veteran in their home.
And they will pay for, which is different from Mass Health, will pay for caregivers that the client can pick, but not for the spouse. For the Veterans Program, it can include the spouse.
The spouse could be the caregiver and be paid.
Right.
Right.
Or
The
the
vet-
family
the
members of
veteran-
someone they approve, so,
The
you know.
the veteran has the VA provides a pool of funds for that veteran. That veteran then is able to spend that money on his or her own care as they deem fit. It's not nearly the cost equal to the cost of a nursing home, which is $10,000 some odd dollars. It's probably more like 4,000-ish.
Uh-huh.
But they're able to, if their family is taking care of them, they're able to pay their family.
Right, Mass
Which-
Health does that.
Mass
but they
Health
won't do
has
the
been doing that
spouse.
for a number of
Yeah.
years also.
But that's nice.
And the other thing is, though, that they pointed out, you have to have a doctor from the hospital, from the Veterans
From the
Hospital.
VA, you have to be
You
registered
can't
in the
just have
VA
any
system.
doctor.
Right, you have to be registered in the VA medical system.
That makes
And-
sense.
Then with the South Shore Elderly Services, State Home Care Program and Consumers Direct Care, they also have the same type of thing. And this one also includes the spouse. But the Medicare doesn't, you know, they don't, they're hoping that will change. So South Shore Elderly Service Case Managers visits clients in their homes and provide the same case management services to the clients as all home care clients. Case managers present their clients with a budget for creating their own service plans. They're responsible for recruiting and hiring their caregivers. They're empowered to choose what tasks they would like completed and what schedule they would like. And it goes on with the different things until, you know, they're closely monitored by whatever, the South Shore Elderly Services. And I think, you know, they have a big, this is a big handout that they, with all the instructions and everything for the caregivers and the clients, so I thought that was interesting.
John, I think it's really
Thank you,
great
John.
that you go, and how much time do you spend when you go?
No, Tuesday mornings, it's great,
Yeah.
great.
No, I think it's great that that you're able to.
But it's a great group, you know,
Yeah.
of course, they're the ones that sponsor Meals on Wheels, you know, so,
You go monthly or monthly, right?
monthly, once a month.
No,
But
They
that you
have-
come
they
and
have
share,
different
you come and
meetings that
share your
they-
knowledge with us, I mean, and the camera.
Well, that's
And
the
the
purpose,
audience.
that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, it's great.
Thank you, John.
Oh, I wanted to mention too, they have the new booklet out.
Okay.
This
It's
came
here.
out, and they do have copies here, has all the information, disabilities and everything, because they were, some of the people with disabilities weren't aware that they covered, you know, adults with disabilities.
Oh,
So I gave her, the one I had was an older one, because they hadn't had this come out yet, and then there's other pamphlets here that I'll leave, that are
they're here at the senior center, yeah.
for the seniors, so. And St. Luke's is having their supper the 20th, which is Palm Sunday, but the 20th, the day of the parade, so you can come
Oh,
go to the
wow.
parade and then come to the supper.
That probably works out very well.
What's for
Ooh.
supper?
And it's going to be beef stew, so if it's a cold day, you can warm it up.
Something green in your cup.
Okay. All right.
What's for dessert?
Coconut cake.
Uh-huh.
Well, we are having a lunch on next Tuesday, the 15th, I guess, for St. Patrick's Day. Is
I
that next
think
week?
I can make that. What, my problem is, we have several people that are still down in Florida, or people who Beth is tied up, so I'm taking her place on Wednesday, so I can't make things on Wednesday.
Right, right. No, I
But
know.
she's doing all right, but she's low, she's keeping low, because she had surgery and all.
Sure.
Mhm.
Glad to hear. I did want to ask.
She's having radiation too, so.
Make sure I call.
Very good.
Thanks so much, John.
So Elaine is not here today.
I did know she was not
Yeah.
coming, and I apologize.
Yep. Do we have a friend of the Scituate seniors?
Pauline Souther.
Report out.
Did you plan to
Yes.
speak?
Pauline Southern, I'd just like to
Hi,
give you
Pauline.
an update. On the history, the update is the history of the Lawson Tower. It's going to be presented by Bobby Chesia, pardon me. And it's going to be Saturday, April 16th at 3 p.m. And it's going to be held at the GAR Hall on Country Way. And the registration will be, we're asking for a donation of $10. And I think it will be very interesting, and hopefully you can all come. We will be serving refreshments that will be made fresh that day by members of our bakers, and I think they'll be very enjoyable. So hope you can come.
Very good.
And what's his first name? Chesia?
Yes, Bobby.
Bobby, is it Bobby?
Yes.
Well, he gave a talk about 2 years ago at the library on Dreamwald. And, I mean, he really is a good speaker. Plus, at that time, he gave us all free books, but I don't think that's part of the deal. But he's an excellent with the slideshow, and he's so enthusiastic about, he knows his stuff, so.
Yeah. Good. Did anybody else attend the Adaptive Building Reuse Committee meeting and have any comments? Because I did not. And
When was it?
Gordon's not here, so
I don't think there was.
I would have assumed there would have been one.
There's one tonight at 7.
Oh, there is?
right?
Okay. That is?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know
Yeah,
that.
oh, no, there is,
Didn't
yeah,
know.
there's one at 7 tonight.
Okay. So we don't have, okay, well, we don't have a report there. Do we have any old business?
You know, really, that's too bad, because I didn't know about that, and we're supposed to be informed by our,
Yep, I didn't know either. Probably.
That's what we were told, you know.
by whom?
Dr. Price told someone.
Okay.
That's
I didn't get
unfortunate.
that memo.
Well, no, I mean, Dr. Price didn't tell me directly, but I was told by some people that it's tonight at 7.
Okay.
So, I hope that's not one of those vicious grapevine rumors, and everybody doesn't
Yeah.
head up to town hall. But,
Okay, well, old business. Do we have any old business to discuss?
I guess not necessarily, but we have had some questions about the vacancies on the board. So I only wanted to mention that the Board of Selectmen is the process through which people go if they are interested in
Mhm.
working on any committee or board or commission. So,
I think you have to fill out basically.
There is an
a
application online.
A brief
Mhm.
document and submit it to the town administration?
Submit to the Board of Selectmen,
Board of
Lorraine
Selectmen,
Devon. It is online, it is updated. She did mention to me that they would be, just like last year, doing an open house for recruiting people from the community to be on boards and committees.
Hmm.
That's
Sounds
in May,
great.
I think it might be May 5th, I think, first week of May. And then they would make their appointments in June. So May and June. And for us, that's close enough. We don't need to ask for a special accommodation to fill the 2 vacancies. The town general bylaws does talk about a board of 9 and at least 7. So right now we have 7. We did have 9. We can have 9, at least according to the current bylaws, so
do you
that's the
have
way
a
it
copy
stands.
of the bylaws that you can have copies made for all of us,
I have,
to give individually to us?
I have what we have, yes.
Or do you have something electronically?
Oh, both. I thought I actually had. Yes, the answer is yes, I do.
Because there's not a maximum number, correct? We can have, we
It
can have
says a
more
board
than
of 9, so not that, as I've mentioned, we could update bylaws because they're
Right,
very
I was just going to bring
minimal.
that up under old business, because I think it was almost 2 years ago, when you were talking about forming smaller subcommittees, you know, working on the bylaws.
I did, I would like that very
Yeah,
much.
but I need to, I don't have a copy of the bylaws.
Okay, I did,
So,
I can get that.
yeah.
And we have Beth who resigned, but we have a second resignation? So it's just one seat, is it not?
Well,
I think there was one open.
there's
Yeah.
one
Anyway,
open.
and then Beth resigned. so
Because
that's
Beth,
two.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, there was one
I think so.
I
Is it?
do think so too. and
before
why-
Beth resigned, which
I was
means it's
Yeah.
two. Okay.
very certain about that before, and now I just can't remember.
But it's my understanding, we can have as many as the board wants to have. I mean, we don't have a crowd of 1,000, so we're
Right.
sitting out on Brook Street or on
I
Brook
don't think
Street.
that's accurate unless it's in the bylaws, and it's not right
But there's no maximum number.
now. There is.
There
It's a
is,
board
okay.
of 9.
Oh, it is, okay. Well, I don't have a copy, so I was just going on my memory.
I just said it.
I think 9 would probably be a max to be
Yeah, I don't
able
think
to
we've ever had 9.
facilitate.
There are models that have alternates or associate members without voting rights, et cetera, but I did think it was more manageable,
Yeah.
this size, while we sort of tried to establish what we can do, what we want to do.
Mhm.
But, like I said, it could be rewritten.
Well, I just think it's, you know, for the fact of the matter, tonight's a perfect example. If we had, we don't have to have 9, but if we had even 8, you know, we have people that leave in the wintertime to go to Florida.
Mhm.
And well, they should, but, and then and I myself with illness, and as anybody could be ill, if we had a larger number, you know, it would be,
Mhm.
you wouldn't be having an echo.
Okay. Any other old business? Okay.
Anything?
Any new business to discuss?
I did not have any business.
I do not. Okay, well, hopefully Gordon will make it to the Adaptive Reuse Committee. So that'd be great to hear about what's going on there. As I recall, their timeline was trying to start to get some traction in March and April, so that'd be good to
I
hear.
did think the next meeting involved some sort of a presentation by the architects, but I didn't think that was until April, so that's why I did not believe there would be a meeting.
Yeah.
They did present to the selectmen, though. They just,
They planned
it was
a draft.
informative. It was an
a draft.
informal, informational, what was that, a month ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was just, it wasn't any, it was just
Yeah,
to keep
no,
the
right.
selectmen on board with what they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's gotta, I mean, the committee's gotta come up with a couple of recommendations to consider, so.
Right?
Does anybody else have any other comments, issues, business? Otherwise, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
My motion to adjourn?
I second it.
Meeting adjourned. It's 6:28.
Thank you.
Six
Very
what?
good. 6:20.